What's up, YouTube fans? Today, we're going to take a look at the FansToys Hadid, or their version of a Masterpiece Scale Mixmaster. I got this one from Nick the Toy Guy. If you're interested, you can check out the link in the description, along with a coupon code to get a discount. And this is the 5th member in the series of Constructicons from FansToys. And I've had mixed feelings over the set. Some of them I've really liked them. For example, the Hook figure. And some of them not as much, specifically I thought the Scavenger just was really awkward and weird. But we're on to Mixmaster here, and I do think this guy looks pretty good. A nice gunmetal for the head, metallic red for the eyes, pearlescent for the face, metallic purple for the body with the red and gray accents there. Green for the arms and lower legs. You do have a pretty big backpack back here. He did have a mixing barrel, but it sticks out pretty far. I like what the Ocular Max had done to get this to collapse down. But I do understand, all of them have been bulky, so they're sticking with that theme here. Out of box, there's not that much to do. In the unboxing video, they showed that they pulled the arms down, but when I took mine out of box, they were already pulled down, so I'm not really sure. Maybe results may vary. But this is something you'll want to do, is come to here, and I have this issue where this sometimes comes off. They're just two little tabs that hold this on. It works fine, but if you pull it too far back, that's what makes it pop off. So don't do that. But get it here, lift up this panel. It's tabbed in. And then bring that over the top of the head. Lift up this panel here. And in the back, you'll see the little cannons. And then rotate that forward and let that sit flat on that gray panel. Something like that. And now we have his little head box with the little cannons there. And that looks pretty good. I do wish there was an option to add the other cannons to this instead of, smaller ones to this instead of to the bigger box, which I'll show you in a minute. But I do like the look of this head box. All right, let's go over his articulation. The head is on a rotating swivel, so we can rotate around. It can't go all the way around. The box clears just fine. And lifts up to there and down to there. Decent looking head sculpt, I like it. Shoulder joint around a friction hinge out to the side, up to there. A little bit limited there. It should go a little bit higher, in my opinion. You have a rotation. Oh, you have a little bit of a butterfly just due to the transformation. Reverse butterfly and a tiny bit forward due to the way it transforms. Rotation here at the bicep. Single joint elbow gets you past 90 degrees. Rotation here at the wrist. Individually articulated fingers at 2 pins, and the thumb is on a ball jointed pin. Same hands they've been doing. I have no issues with the FansToys hands. They're fine. They work. Coming down to the waist, you get nothing. You get no waist rotation. That's a huge bummer. And no ab crunch. There's nothing there. And mainly it's due to everything gets locked in with this. You might be able to cheat, but is it really worth it? You got to untransform it? I don't think so. Hip skirts move out of the way on the front and the sides. Legs will kick up to there. I do have a little blemish here. I have a little bit of green paint on top of my purple paint. I tried, kind of rubbing it off, but I couldn't get it off. But this is purple. And there's just a little bit of green. The underside of this is green. So they did have to paint that. And you can see that is filled with lube. But I don't know how they ended up getting paint here. It's not horrible, but it's not great either. This is a friction hinge. So out to the side, up to here, limited by the sculpt. That is very limited. That's pretty bad. You don't get much. Rotation of the thigh, run universal. Rotation at the knee due to the transformation. You have a single joint knee, gets a little past 90. And angle tilts are built into here. I guess that is accurate, but I don't love the way they did it. I think I would have preferred having something built in down here so you get a tilt. You don't have the option for toes on this guy either, like you did for the Ocular Max. There's nothing to fold out, so you do get the cartoon accurate look, and that's it. There's no other option. For accessories, we get his blaster done in this gunmetal. Decent sculpt on it. And this will fit in the hand. Obviously all the guns are attempting to be cartoon accurate, but that'll fit in his hand. And he can put the fingers around it. And that works fine. And we also get his trumpet done in this die-cast chrome gold. This will fit in his hand as well. And all of them, are the same trumpet. So they haven't changed anything on them. They're all interchangeable. Let's see if he can actually reach into his mouth. Yes. So you can make do with this. And we also get this piece right here, which can be used as his head box. So let's just move this out of the way. So first you got to put this one away. So lift this up, fold the cannon back in, and rotate that down. Fold the head down, pull this back. Don't pull it back too far because it'll pop off. And then straighten that up. All right, now that we've done that, we can take this out of the box. This is how it looks. We're going to rotate these back. So you just sit like this. These will rotate in and sit down like that. And then this will clip. So you're taking this little gap here, and that's fitting around this piece right here. And then these have two little clips that are going into slots on the side of this gray piece. This should fit inside here. You can see there's a perfect little gap for this piece in there. So make sure you line that up too. It all kind of locks together pretty nicely once you get it. All right, there we go. And now you have the combiner part installed, and then we're going to take these missiles, and this is more, I guess, a toy look. I don't know. This will fit in here. You get the nice chrome. I do like the look of the chrome, but I don't like the size of the box. I just think it's too much. It's too big, and it makes him look even more bulky than he already did. It's a nice option, but I prefer the smaller box anyway. All right, we also get some alternate faces here. To swap it out, you're just going to pull forward on the front of the head and detach this. Then you can slide out the face from here. And then we'll swap in a new one and get that tabbed back in. And there's a yelling face. That looks pretty good. And there's a teeth gritting face. I don't love this. They needed to paint the mouth black for it to be convincing. It just looks kind of strange. But yeah, you have some options there. All right, for size comparison, there he is next to the MP36 Megatron and the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime. And you know my rule by now, Constructicons should not be taller than Megatron, at least in my opinion. And this one just barely makes my criteria. Now this part does put it over. Like this piece right here is over the height of this. But in general, it's about the same size as Megatron. So this is the maximum. And here's another comparison which I think people want to see next to the Ocular Max Deletus, their version of Mixmaster. And they're actually close to the same size. This guy's obviously bigger, but Oculomax is also going with the larger robot modes here. And it's interesting, the differences. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time here because we're going to do a full comparison between these two guys. But you could see Oculomax decided to compact the barrel way down, whereas FansToys just has the full barrel. So, and somebody said this looks like a Lego minifigure head. It kind of does. But yeah, we'll do a full comparison, so stay tuned for that. All right, let's get this guy transformed into vehicle mode. And we'll start with some of the easier stuff. It's relatively straightforward transformation. Lift up the arm. We're going to open up this panel here. Fold in the hand. Leave this panel open. Collapse the arm down. Come to here. You're going to lift out on this panel here. Close this up. Then we're going to fold this back and just leave that there for now because we have to end up folding that inside the body. Go ahead and do the same thing on this side. All right, now that we have both arms taken care of, we can take care of the upper body. And this section does get a little confusing, especially if you're going back into robot mode. So I'm going to try to point out how things attach. But first we can get rid of this. So we're going to lift up on this, fold in the cannons, and then fold this down, pull the head forward, fold this down, tab it in there. This likes to, come off. It's just on a tabbed system here. So if it does come off, don't worry, you can just tab it back on. So we're going to separate all this. So the way this works is this is on a slider, and as you slide it down, it plugs into the top of this barrel. So I'm going to show you. You're going to lift up on this, and you'll see there's a slot right here, and inside the barrel right here is a tab. So that tab is really what's holding it together. I'm not getting it lighting. Yeah. So that tab right here is what's attaching to here. All right, but for now, we're going to detach that. We can bring, and this is what I was talking about. This panel loves to separate, but I'm going to bring this up, and we need to separate this panel. I recommend a spudger for this part. It just makes things easier. You're going to separate this on this slider so that you can lift this up and over the head. And once you get it past the head, you can open up this panel here. And we have these here. So I'm going to rotate this to the side. We're going to lift up on these little panels. And it's weird because you can't do this any other way. You have to open it while it's folded in. But you're going to fold those out on both sides. Then we can rotate these out. And we'll rotate this down this way. And this is actually going to come down, and you can flatten this section here. It's a little tricky because you got to get this through here, but it has to be flat before you can do that. So that's that front section. All right, now we'll take care of this backpack piece. So lift this up. That'll give you enough room to flip this around the head to this side. Then we can come back to here. You don't necessarily need to separate this from here. That can stay down. But you do want this to flip to the other side for a minute so that we can take care of the arms. For the arms, we're going to move this out of the way. So open this up, and we're going to flip this around. That's going to give us plenty of space to see what we're doing and work on this. So this is going to flip in, and this is also going to flip around and end up sitting right here. And you need to collapse this down so it sits flush. And the first time I did it, I didn't push this in. It really collapses down quite a bit. So we have something like that. Same on this side. Rotate this in. And it is a tight fit, but it does collapse down and tab in there. And you know you have it right if these are flush. And currently it's not flush, so there we go. That's a little closer. All right. So that's looking good. We're going to bring these back. Those are just going to sit right there. The head is going to rotate back and sit right in between those arms. Just like that. Bring this back up. And I guess we can collapse this back down now. That extension piece. Okay. So we're going to end up putting this back on the other side. So come to the inside here. We're going to rotate this at this upper hinge, then rotate at the lower hinge. So you end up with this on this side. Back here, we can flip this out to flatten that out. Bring this back. It's going to end up here. We're not quite ready to attach it, but open this up. This is going to slide forward on a slider right here. And end up in here, but we're not ready to close all this up yet just because we're going to have to deal with this. So open up the wheels. Come to the top here. And this is tricky. They don't really show it in the instructions. So this works best if you fold this out, rotate it flat, and then it sits down inside there. That's the easiest way to get in there. Make sure you push this down so it's flattened against. These will clip in on either side of that grill. The wheels will clip into the side of the chest, kind of solidifying that. And these panels will come up, clip into here, and then fold down on the front. All right, and then the last piece here, at least for this part, is this. So this will come down, and there's 1, 2, 3 pegs along both sides. And it's a little tricky to get them all lined up and in there. But if you've got the arms correct, and like I mentioned, you got to have this perfectly flush, you should be able to tab this in, all 3 of those. And same on this. I don't have this one completely flush. All right, that went in, that went in. For the windshield, just bring this down and collapse that in. These little nubbins on the gray piece will sit out. So that is the front of the cab. Not bad. All right, let's get working on this. So we are going to extend this out, and leave that there for now. Work on the legs. So for the legs, and I caught this in here. I don't even know how that happened, but you don't want that in there. Okay. Come to the leg. We're going to take care of all of this. So let's see. Come to the front. We'll unpeg this section here. We'll rotate this out, rotate this around, flip this around, open up this tab, open up this panel, and bring this back down and tab it in right there. Come to the back here, and we will flip this out, We're going to rotate this 180 degrees. Open up this wheel section. And I forgot one thing. We're going to bring this down. That's going to sit right there. This will come up and tab in right here. This will come over and tab into the side. And that's one side. I'm going to bring this in. But that's one leg done. So go ahead and do the other side. It's exactly the same. All right, now they got both legs transformed. We can put them together. So fold out this little clip. You're gonna bring the legs together. There's a couple of pegs holding it all together. So just tab it together. Bring this down, put that retaining clip in there. Make sure everything's all straight. You want the legs straight so that it's flush. On the top side here, there's this panel. This is going to clip into the top of the thighs. And let's see. Bring this up. So we'll get that tabbed in there. I just had to get it aligned, but and once you have that, we can bring this section back and clip that in there. That'll cover up that section. And then this will tab in right here. There's two little pegs and there's a slot underneath here. Let's bring this back. Make sure this is extended all the way. It should be all the way back. And clip it in to the top here. All right, there is Hadid in vehicle mode. And I have to say it's a pretty nice looking truck. You got the translucent pinkish purple for the glass, gray and silver for the front bumper, translucent for the headlights with silver behind it. Chrome wheels, rubber tires. Does roll really nicely on those wheels. Nice hefty, chunky feeling truck. The mixer barrel doesn't rotate. If you come to the back, you'll see there's a little bit of detail here for the chute for the cement. It does look a little unfinished back here, but you can take this piece, which we used for robot mode, unplug these two pieces, and then we will lift up on this, and we'll rotate this up. Now there is a kind of a fan mode, maybe, where we can rotate these up. And this is not how they recommend. They recommend you have it with these down, but I'm going to put them up. So you have this. These two slots will plug into these two pegs right here. So get that tabbed in. And now we'll have this look right here. I do think that looks a little more finished with that piece on there. I did think that these two pegs would allow us to plug these in. They really don't. They just don't fit in those slots. The slots are too wide. However, you can take the gun, a little slot here on the top. You can peg this for gun storage right into there. And now you can do that. That's pretty cool. I haven't found a way to store these in here. I thought maybe somewhere up here, but either way, I think it looks a little more complete with this. It's an option. You don't have to do it, but I think it does end up looking more complete with those parts. And for size comparison, there it is next to the MP10 Optimus Prime. And I've said it all the way through. I love the size of these vehicle modes. They're much bigger, but they're construction vehicles, and I love that, they're just huge. All right, and for another comparison, there it is with the rest of the FansToys Constructicons, and this set looks exceptional in vehicle mode. I think it really is the best mode so far. And I'm not talking about combined mode just because I haven't put it together, but I think my favorite so far are Mixmaster and Hook. I think they really look good. The long haul, close second. Still very nice truck mode. Then Scavenger, my one complaint with Scavenger is there's no wheels, so you can't roll. That's a fatal flaw on this one. And my least favorite by far is Scrapper. I think this is just such a plain green blob of nothingness. There's no detail on it. But overall, as a team, I really like this. So much so that I am considering displaying this set this way. I just think it looks like a huge, big, beefy set of construction vehicles. But there you go for comparison. All right, now let's get him transformed into combined mode. And the instructions show it going from robot to combined mode. I'm going to be going from vehicle to combined mode. So if you need the robot to combine, you're going to have to hit up the FansToys video. Maybe later I'll make one, but I prefer to go in this direction. It's also actually closer to the vehicle mode than it is to the robot mode. But let's start with this front cab section. We have to basically undo everything that we've done before. So we're going to open up this, open up that, get those side bumper pieces off. We can also unpeg this cab section from the top. There's 3 tabs along the side. Then we can unpeg this front. And I recommend having a spudger handy for this transformation because it just makes your life easier. Unpeg the wheels from the side of the chest. I'll allow you to take this whole section, the grill and the front chest piece, and bring that down. And we can set it down on the back here and we'll work on this. So this has got to pull out from here. And fold this in, fold down the cannons. We're going to rotate this around, and then this will come back down. And it can be tricky to get this collapsed back in, but this should sit flush on this panel. And then this will end up being the toe, but leave that there for now. And we got to take care of all of this. We can get these wheels just folded in and out of the way. Then we're going to take this, and this is going to rotate around on this hinge. It's going to end up back here, but we had to do a few other things. We'll come to here and just move the arms about that much out of the way because you're going to extend it. So pull up on the ab crunch, and I actually did both, but pull up on the ab crunch piece here, not ab crunch, it's just the piece in the middle. It's not an ab crunch. And then you're going to pull up on this double hinge, which will get you up to there. Then you can put the arms back down, make sure they're really pushed into position back where they were, fully attached here. All right, now that you have it up like that, I'm going to show you this. You've got to push this piece through. It's kind of tight, but first few times it's tight. But that's what it looks like on the other side. You're pushing this green plastic piece through. That locks it from pushing back up. All right, once you have that green piece pushed out to lock it in place, you're going to bend here at this joint to get this up like this. So it's a 90-degree angle. This will come up and fit right in here. And you should have this closed on the back. And then we're going to bring this up. And don't close this top cab section yet. Let me just move the camera down. You're going to bring this up. And that will clip into here. Then we can lock this onto the sides and close up that front bumper. And then you're going to bring this cab down. It's going to clip in here, and then these 3 slots, same as before. They're actually different locations now, but it is a little tricky to get this locked in. There we go. We got it now. And obviously not complete because we need something to hold this in place. So what we're going to do is bring in this piece right here. So unplug this from here. All right, go ahead and take this piece. You're going to fold these down, flip this out. And these will face the back of the ankle, and these will face the front. So bring this up, and this will slide in right here. This clip is going to go into here, and then these will lock into the sides. So just leave those open. So first work this back clip right here. Then come to the front and get these pegged in here. And then get this on the side. So there's kind of 3 points where it locks in. Get this, and then get this. And sometimes that cab gets undone. But there's the toe all done. And we now have to work on the knee and the ankle. So undo this, unpeg this from here. We're going to unpeg this, so undo this retaining clip as well as these pegs. We're going to open this up, flip this around, get this out of the way. This will flip back in here, and then we'll close this down like this, and this will flip down and collapse like that. Then you can put this up. So that's one side. I'm going to do it again just because that wasn't the cleanest looking. So come to here. We'll open up this clip. Bring this up, tab that in. Flip the wheel around. And then clip that back into there and close this up. All right, and we don't want to tab it all together just yet because we got to do a little bit more work. Undo this panel, which is tabbed into the thighs, so you can get access to here. Open this up, and we need to do some work on the barrel. So for the barrel, we'll come to here, and we're going to pull back on this back section. It feels like it's not going to go, but it does. So you're going to lift this out on a double hinge. So it folds all the way out like that. And then this is going to rotate in and sit just like that. This will go back in and collapse in and hide away. On the bottom, you need to pull out this armature. So it sticks out like that. That's going to end up in here. But you can see it doesn't line up right now. And that's because you got to extend these legs. Open this up. And my apologies, you had to get this under here. So just fit that under there. Then we're going to open up this panel right here. And we should be able to extend the thigh up on that slider. Once you have that extended, you can bring this back down and plug it in to there. All right. Go ahead and do the same thing on this side. All right, now we're ready to squeeze all this back together. So this is going to squeeze right in the middle. So line up this armature with this slot. And get that tabbed in. Make sure this one hits the other side. There we go. Get this retaining clip to hold it in. Then tab all of this back together. Just give that a squeeze. You can push this panel back into the top of the thighs. Just make sure you do that on both sides. This barrel has a little place to sit, so there's like a groove. It doesn't peg in, it just kind of sits there. because the knee joint is right here at the top. All right, last step here is to combine the hip piece, which we now have for both of the legs. So we're gonna have to rotate this around until we get that screw hole lined up with these. And you'll see 2 rails. And make sure you have this one. This is the wrong one if you have this one. So these will slide into these slots. Push it all the way forward. Make sure it lines up with this. Basically flush. All right, and there's Hadid in leg mode fully combined. I will say it does look pretty good. Obviously very cartoon accurate. I like the overall look of the barrel, at least from the front. I like that they flipped the cab around. I like the toe down here, and I like the cab position. As you come to the side, it does look a little funny here, but it still works for a leg mode. Maybe they should have put this out a little further. I don't know. But on the Toy World, they've got the piece that comes out here, so it looks a little bit different. It doesn't look as thin. The joints on this, the hip joints is actually pretty strong. So in the video, I couldn't tell if this was ratcheted. It is indeed ratcheted. So it's a nice die-cast piece. You can see that. So the thigh rotation and the thigh outward bend is ratcheted. However, the ankle joint is not ratcheted. So everything's relying on this piece right here. This movement here, that worries me. That should lock in. And you do have this clip here, but it just doesn't prevent this motion. It also rotates there on that joint. And that doesn't lock in either. You do have this ankle tilt. It's right here. There's a die-cast joint. And it does collide with this a little bit, so you just move this out of the way. But I feel like that all should have been ratcheted to kind of lock that ankle in. Now, it's not falling down or anything. I'm wondering if when you put together all the weight, is it going to be an issue for this guy? And I'm going to do a separate video for the full combined mode. At least what we've got so far, we're missing one arm. But for now, I do worry, especially about this. That feels not the most secure. All right, for size comparison, there it is next to the Toy World Constructor, their version of Devastator. And the leg is basically the same size as the Toy World. So you can see pretty much the same height up to the top of the hip. Almost identical height. Actually, maybe a little shorter, but almost the same. Foot, almost the same size. Barrel, obviously way bigger, but just due to the way they designed it. And here's what I wanted to show you. Like, the way they did this leg, it doesn't lose any girth here. Because it still bends here at the knee. The way they did this one, it bends lower. It bends down here. And that's why it ends up looking a little bit awkward when you bend the knee. Different design choice there. But there you go for a comparison. So final recommendations on the FansToys Hadid. And for the most part, we're really just going to be talking about the robot mode and the vehicle mode. And at least the transformation to combined mode. But I considered the 3. And main reason for considering the 3 was the lack of a waist swivel. That seems like a miss for something that's essential for Masterpiece figures. But other than that, it's a really nice looking robot mode. I love the sculpt and the paint on this guy. Overall, he's a beefy brawler looking Mixmaster. Vehicle mode is also one of my favorite Mixmasters that I've messed with so far in my career on YouTube. So, it's a very good looking figure. It just feels like is limited, specifically in articulation. It mostly gets there. Combined mode, I do think from front on, it looks great. Side, not so much. And like I said, I'm going to wait till we get it fully combined before I judge that. But I think it is, if you're looking for G1, this is it. Yes, very, very G1 accurate. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the combined mode video as well as the comparison with the Oculus Max Deletus, their version of Mixmaster. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
TM Reviews. What's up, YouTube fans?